So let's start by getting into the question of how this technology works. Now, the technology works, I'll explain a couple of the building blocks that go into the technology. The first is the tag. Every asset that needs to be identified with radio frequency identification, or RFID, has to have a unique tag on it, much like you see pictured here. The tag itself will get stimulated by the reader, and you can see a couple examples of readers both in the fixed mounted form as well as the mobile form. Now, once the energy from that reader excites the tag itself responds with its unique identifier, and therefore you have an RFID tag that represents an asset in the database that represents what it is that you might be looking for or might be inventory. This technology is referred to as passive RFID technology. A couple of the tenets around RFID is that every tag is unique, as I mentioned a moment ago, but also that the tag reads can read without the need for a direct line of sight. Some of you, or many of you, may be coming from a world which barcode tracking continues to remain part of your operating procedure. In that case, you know, a one-to-one relationship between a barcode scan and a barcode relates to what information you're going to see in the database when you look down at your mobile computer or your laptop or tablet. In this case, you can capture many RFID tag reads with one sweep, capturing many tags and knowing that you've got accountability for them at that moment in time. So really, the automated reads we see here equals more data, more tag reads, and ultimately a much better audit trail. So not only do you know where an item is, but you know where it's been because you can see the historical trail of that item and how it moves throughout your facilities. Another benefit of RFID is it can read through physical things like boxes and containers, where we work in a lot of environments where items might be contained inside containers for storage purposes or in-transit purposes. It often becomes very beneficial to read a tag in an asset, know what's inside without actually opening the container itself. So a couple use cases we're going to walk you through today is on the right-hand side you can see the fixed reader example that we have here. The fixed reader is something that will mount over an area such as an egress, such as a doorway. A mobile reader will allow that portability to move throughout a facility, capturing RFID tags and RFID reads. So that's a little bit of background of RFID and how it works. I want to take a moment to just differentiate this passive technology that we're recommending and promoting here versus an active technology that you might have heard about. Active technology requires batteries. That requires long-term maintenance to ensure that those tags can read and report to something like a Wi-Fi network or some kind of infrastructure that can capture a tag read. There's a lot more cost involved and a lot more infrastructure involved in active reading. So our passive approach to this is the much more economical and effective way in which to implement RFID in the UC Web platform that we're going to communicate through to you here today. So that takes us to the question of what is the driving need for RFID. The first is improved asset visibility. The other is hands-free automated tracking. And the third I'll mention is the reporting and audit readiness. Now I'm going to turn to both Daryl and Bob and I'm going to say, guys, give me some examples of where you've seen, what types of assets are being tracked with RFID and what kind of benefits are you seeing within our customer environments who are using this technology?
Well, I think first and foremost, Pete, IT asset tracking is a application we take calls on, you know, every week. Every industry, every vertical, they all have IT assets, IT equipment. They want better visibility, better accountability, and RFID for this purpose is a beautiful, you know, glove fit. So that's a tremendous application. Returnable containers, pallets. We've done armories, so weapons tracking is now being done with RFID technology as well. And Bob, you want to jump in with a couple?
Yeah, as you mentioned, right now, IT asset tracking is huge. Being a part of the IT teams here at A2B, we know how much equipment we have. Sometimes we're issuing equipment to new employees or sales employees, because they need all these tools to get their job done, whether it be smartphones or these mobile computers back here that we use on marketing data capture projects all around the world. We need a quick way of ensuring that everything we have is where it belongs, and to do that using general barcode alone is just too time consuming, one-to-one, sometimes having to rummage around a big box of stuff or climb high to get to something. So yeah, IT asset tracking is big right now. Even auditing your server racks, having all your switches and all the equipment in your server racks inventoried relatively quickly is incredible. As Pete mentioned, reading through boxes and whatnot, we've seen and we've tested some retail applications as well with some garments and boxes, garments that are tagged and covered up. We were able to also read without having to take those garments out. So yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, Daryl, across all verticals, really, I mean, there's really use for RFID technology versus general barcoding.
Well, and what we're going to focus on here today is, Bob, you alluded to it, is to be able to see an item as it passes through and identify the last known location of that item. And that'll allow us to hone in on where that asset is within that facility or within the area that's being covered. And then we'll also explore the rapid, accurate inventory control or cycle counting capability that this technology enables within UC Web.